Hi, everyone. How are you? Today I'm talking about the energy alignment and the equinox, the spring equinox. My name is Mari Mendoza, and I'm an energy healer. I have been working with ceremony and sound, energy, shamanic, quantum, art. I'm an artist, in case this is your first time here. And I'm so excited to be here today to just give you a little bit of an idea and understanding about what Equinox is about. Um, I am a master ceremonialist and have worked with portals and grids and ceremony for many, many years. I came to this over 30 years ago, not knowing a thing, but I entered into a ceremony that I was invited into, and something happened within me. It's what they call a quickening. I started to open and begin to remember that I had done this many times before. So uh, this is really an important time right now to connect into ceremony. And so behind me here, as I said, I'm an artist. I am painting a altar cloth for the ceremony that I'm going to be doing on the equinox. Actually, the ancients celebrated the equinox days before and days after. So we're already in the energy of that. We entered into the new moon, the crystalline new moon. And Friday, the 18th, is actually a powerful full moon. And so I will be doing a ceremony live in Laguna, just for those of you who can't travel or nearby in Southern California. Come and join us. Also, there will be a workshop the next day. Go to my website, marimendoza.com, and check it out and get more information about it. We'd love to have you together because this is the first time in quite a while that we actually can physically come together. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that because that's important um, for this moment. But right now, we are approaching the spring equinox, and ancient people all over the world celebrated and connected into these important portals because they knew that this was a powerful time to do ceremony. We are electromagnetic beings, we are in physical bodies, and yet we are also connecting into the divine. And that's why I call this series Cosmic Wisdom Sacred Earth, because there's many ways to explore that. And everyone is perhaps bringing their own perception to that, doing it in different ways. But we live in physical bodies on this physical earth. And so the ancient people were always connected to the great star beings they called star brothers and sisters. They were always guided by higher intelligence that was coming from the star beings. And so, during ceremonies, we are able to contact and connect with that. So just take that in for a moment. Many people ask, why do ceremony? What is equinox and solstice about? What are these? They are energy alignments. They are portals. They are openings and alignments with star portals that allow for energy to come in and bring harmonics and balance that will help open and elevate your consciousness. Okay, so we can do that by tuning in, going and sitting out under the stars and doing our own private ceremony. What's powerful is to go to a sacred site or to be in a group. Um, so that's why this time we are actually going to do a physical ceremony, and I'm creating a crystal grid. I am holding this portal open. I've been doing this work for over 30 years and love to do ceremony. And when people come and physically step in, their frequency is raised, their vibration is raised, and actually open to a new level of consciousness. So As I said, my journey in the beginning came from stepping into ceremony with Indigenous people, and I've been very fortunate to experience many people from around the world, different elders that came forward and brought songs. And in the beginning, this was in the 90s, they were talking about these energy alignments that were opening that would be very, very important for us going forward, in that it we if we could do ceremony and hold that space to really help the planet through this cleansing time. So they were talking about a cleansing time way back, and if we go further back into the 80s, there was a what they call the harmonic convergence, which was a portal opening that really began this whole process. And many groups traveled to sacred sites, started opening up. My own personal awakening, I had an experience where one day I stepped outside, and in the very early morning, this was right in the very beginning when I um, my life started to change. I stepped outside and was greeted by the most extraordinary portal of light. And I thought it was the sunrise, actually. And when I opened the door and this energy came at me, it was this sound vibration that was a frequency beyond anything I knew. And it vibrated my body. I just stood there and absorbed the color and the sound. That was a tremendous, tremendous awakening for me. I had many other experiences, but that one I remember because later, when I went back into it and was writing and journaling about it, I realized that what I thought was a sunrise was actually not a sunrise. And I was facing the west, which would have been the nightfall. So, what happened to me was an extraordinary opening that created for me an awakening that propelled me onto my path even more. And it was unmistakable, like a miracle kind of energy. It was unmistakable that it was happening, that it happened. I couldn't, fluff it away because it was so powerful. What I know now, because of then, and what I know now is that a great harmonic went out across the planet, out across the cosmos, that awakened and was like a clarion call. And I was there. So after that, I started to be invited to native circles and sweat lodges and medicine wheel gatherings. And um, every single one of those was very, very profound. And I had no idea why we were doing what we were doing. But when I stepped in and became more and more involved with it, I realized that every time I went to a ceremony like that, I was shifted in some way. And I really craved that, and it awakened me. It awakened my divine remembering. It opened me up internally. My cosmic DNA was activated. I had many, many dreams. And as an artist as well, very, very visual, had lots of visual images come forward. And at that time, I couldn't really put those on paper. I was beginning to heal. It was the beginning of my healing path, but I learned a lot. So this image behind me is called the Chicana, and it is what the indigenous people in South America use for a medicine wheel. Now, many of you have been with me know about medicine wheel because I teach about that, and we physically experience the energy of a medicine wheel. And all over the world, they work with medicine wheels because it's always about the alignment: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, the above, the below, with the within. Everyone has a slightly different, of course, energy and guardians to those, but here we find ourselves on a physical earth, and We are connecting to north, south, east, west, above, below. But the portal within, the direction of going within, and that is the center point. That is the portal that allows you to move into multidimensional space. So the Chakana here, this is a very in-depth teaching. The shamans use this, draw it on the ground, use it as a portal, because it is a portal. It's a multi-dimensional portal, and it allows you to access the divine in ways that perhaps you wouldn't be able to before. Now, when I was first learning, I was doing a lot of journeying, and that I found that very easy to do. I was journeying continually up into the stars. That's where I wanted to be, is up in the stars. I had to heal my body so that I could physically be in my body. And now, with the medicine wheel teaching, balancing heaven and earth, and what they call in the self ascension community, sacred union, is bringing yourself in absolute harmony and reverence with your physical body, but also open to the stars. And we're in a very amazing time right now where we are shifting our energy, and we're moving higher in vibration. And so it's really, really important to take care of the body, of course, noticing what's happening, because during these important times, energy will bubble up that is not um, serving the highest good, and is also needing to be cleansed and transmuted. And so many people find that before these important gateways, energy is rising and clearing, and perhaps maybe a little bit of a bumpy ride. So always, to take care of yourself and center as much as you can, and maybe walk on the earth, go out in the woods or up a mountain, um, and consciously tune into the vibration of what is happening. So the equinox portal is one for balance. This one in particular is an opportunity to open into an incredible frequency beyond what we've ever known. And so to do that, the to come into ceremony and be open to allow yourself to do that. As I said, Indigenous people prepare for many, many days before, and celebrate during and after as well, because that portal that opens allows for a tremendous amount of energy to flow in, for manifestation, for grace, for healing, for awareness and consciousness. So when you connect into a ceremony, whether you're doing it by yourself and you're tuning in to your heart and you're opening to all that is in whatever way you do, or you join a group in ceremony, that's very powerful because it's magnified and the group comes together. If you go to a sacred site, a sacred temple, or a mountain that's considered a holy mountain, you will also be able to receive the benefit if you go there with intention. So always, the native people have always been connected to their hearts, to the cosmos, and to intention, and walking and being in reverence on the earth, and holding gratitude, and holding the highest frequency possible, and entering these portals or stargates. When you do this, a tremendous shift comes forward. And originally, when I was first journeying and going and working in medicine wheels and circles, I would go and be for a weekend. I've traveled with many different tribes, so to speak, and experienced all different kinds of ceremonies and most amazing people. So when I first went, I would be immersed for the weekend, and then I would leave and go back to my home and go back into my daily routine. And I found myself really dropping in energy and feeling almost depressed in the beginning, because I could not hold that frequency. I wanted to stay in that alignment and I couldn't. I had a lot of healing to do. I had a lot of thoughts and old programming that needed to be cleared. And so, the work, that was the work. And in sacred areas around the world where they practice ceremonies at the solstice, the equinox, and other important dates, you have to prepare. So some of them you're not able to prepare. Sometimes some of these gateways and stargates, so to speak, in these sacred temples, you have to prepare. It takes time to actually prepare your physical body, so that you're strong enough to go. And during some of the journeys, I requested to enter into some of these portals and was told, no, you're not ready. So that was a profound sort of opening for me, because I wanted to be able to just step in, and yet our bodies, our nervous systems, everything, when you step into a sacred site or a ceremony, sometimes afterwards you will feel, or even a healing, you might feel blissful in that moment, and then afterwards things will bubble up, because whatever's not in alignment with that will surface. So on some of my journeys going to Egypt and Bolivia and Peru, and even the sacred circles in England and Scotland and Wales, where we went to these sacred temples, and then things would churn up, and energies and memories would come forward, that old surfacing emotions, and resistance. And so to be able to breathe through that and recognize that the energy that's coming in now, whatever you're doing, is we're under continuous pulsing of light now. In the self ascension circles, we talk about and have talked about, from Master Lady Kira Ra, the energy of each one of the full moons is a powerful portal. It's a powerful pulsing. It's like a huge up level. So this year we're going through tremendous up levels, tremendous. Um, Many other people talk about this time too. And so all are noticing that this is a moment, a very, very important moment. As I said, we will be doing ceremony in person, in live in Laguna. So just go to my website, marimendoza.com, next weekend, the 18th, or wherever you find yourself in the moment. When you connect into these sacred sites, when you connect in to the energy, it's a powerful time, because we are all on this planet, and you may think that you are by yourself, but you are never alone. We are connected, whether we think so or not. And those that are holding a higher frequency, who are holding a higher vision for the planet, that is also what we will be doing. I lay out a big grid, a crystal grid, and so this portal, this will be, it's not finished yet. It's just the beginning. When it's finished, it will be our altar ground, and it will have crystals and that are being called, whenever, because I do a ceremony so much, I'm a master ceremonialist. I start hearing the ceremony weeks ahead. I start getting the promptings, and I listen, and I'm shown images, and I'm shown the crystals and how they want to be set up. I'm shown how the portal wants to be set up, so that we can experience what is needed, so the energy will hold the way it's needed to. And so this was done for eons of time. When I stepped in first, I went with others who knew how to do this, and it was powerful, and everyone does it differently. And so now, with this moment that we're in, you may be drawn to a ceremony, you might be drawn to go by yourself and sit under the moon. You might be drawn to go to the ocean, um, or find a group of people. There are many connecting around the world. Onevoice.org, in Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador, they're having a gathering of the elders and bringing all together. It's an important moment to bring all voices together to come together as one. I remember being in a ceremony with Grandfather Wallace Black Elk, and that was powerful and very way in the beginning of my journey. But I remember very key things that he talked about. And he said, we are one tribe, the human tribe. And yet, he was very multidimensional. He was very um, quantum. Back then, when they weren't talking about quantum, he joked about how he knew about science, and more than that, how he was a scientist, but in the way that our modern scientist doesn't really recognize, that he was walking through quantum portals. And the ancient people talked about this as well. In Egypt, there are hieroglyphs all over the sacred temples that show the solar boats that are leading into, and usually you'll see a solar boat and then there's a doorway or a gateway that has stars in it, and so they were they were already understanding wormholes. They were already understanding the knowledge of the cosmos, and they were showing that, so that at some point when we awaken again out of our hypnosis, out of our um, nosedive into density and forgetting who we are, when we start awakening and clearing the veils, and opening into remembering who we are, that is what they were talking about. So indigenous people have done ceremony to allow you to fly through the cosmos. And as I said, I loved that. I wanted to do that always. So now is the time, because here we are in such a tremendous portal here. And with this full moon illumination of this moment, how you are in your daily life and how you are interacting with your life and how you are interacting with the energy all around you. Energy alignment means that we come into alignment with our soul alignment, that as you begin to recognize, wow, is this all there is, or what is there more? Many of my clients who are coming in now, and have been for some time, are looking for a greater connection. And that's one of the things about ceremony, is when you come into connection with other beings, when you step in and you release all of it and you let go of everything else, then collectively we bring together an energy. And many times when I've been in ceremony or doing ceremony, calling people together, it's fascinating how some people that were absolutely just adamant, I'll be there, I'm bringing food for the potluck, let's go, let's do this, were suddenly could not come. Something happened. They were delayed. And what I know now is that spirit aligns those who are meant to be there to come together, and so um, during the last few years, we were not having as many connections, but now we are able to, as things are opening up, to step in together. And how do we bring the consciousness of all that we have learned over the last few years in this just tremendous portal that opened up? 2020 was a huge opening, awakening, a catalyst for consciousness to either pop or drop, right? To go up and into greater alignment with creativity, or go into the deeper levels of fear and separation. And all are learning through this process. So there's no mistake on any level how it's done. But that's why ceremony is so important, to the special times that we come together, because we get caught up in our day to day. And as I said, I wanted in the beginning to just stay in that energy all the time, and I didn't know how. Frankly, I had a lot to heal. But as I stepped into ceremony and I got into that sacred space, then I connected into it. Then I was able to stabilize in it and hold it more and more. And I came to understand and later to know that every day is a ceremony, every day is a blessing, every day is a moment of reverence of this tremendous gift that this life is, that we are here in these physical bodies experiencing this juicy world. I mean, here we are with all these senses, yes, and sometimes can lead us astray and bring us into places that we wake up and go, wow, how did I find myself here? And yet all is for the expansion, all is for divine awakening and remembering. And I remember in those first medicine wheels where one of the Huichol shaman, he did a workshop, and it was all about the heart and the portal of the heart. And I had never experienced or heard about that before. And so we did a ceremony where we opened into the heart, because that was the portal to gain access to many other worlds. And I had to practice that. I had to practice. And sometimes when I did ceremony, uh, ceremony or healing, I was in bed for days after that. And so there was no mistake. I had to shift a lot of energy. And during that time, and because of that, I've been able to practice energy alignment, and so for close to 30 years, I've done equinox and solstice ceremonies, and have grown and learned over much time about that, and done them in sacred sites. And we've planted crystals all over the world to activate, and I'm also a crystalline master, a crystal healer, and work with crystals. And so they call. And there was a time in the beginning of 2000 where I did in-depth study around the crystalline and um, the great sentinel crystals that are in the earth, and the alignments, and remembering that part of myself. And so many people look to crystals and what is that? And oh my God, and I love crystals. And other people are, you know, dismissing that, so to speak, so that because they're not understanding what actually it is. So we are in a crystalline age. We are moving into higher frequency. And many of you who know me and have been in ceremony, you know this already, or maybe already know this, that we're in a crystalline moment where we're opening into that divine crystalline inherence to really tune into that high frequency within us. I do this because when you step into the center, when you step into the circle. So this will have a crystal grid. This will have a huge crystalline orb and crystals around it when we set up. And when you step into the center, you are the center of the medicine wheel, or as we say, the chakana. And there are many different levels, and it's a multidimensional portal. And it is a connection between heaven and earth, between the Hanakpacha, the superior realms of light, Kaipacha, the physical, Ukupacha, the within. And when we align through the center of that, then we can travel. and to be able to hold that means a balancing on every level. And that's what this equinox is about. And that's what the ceremony is about, is finding your balance and holding yourself stable right in the center of it, right in the center. You know, um, many of the native and ancient people and the temples that have been activated and discovered and rediscovered over much time, many people are guided to go and visit those temple sites. And when you do that, when you go to them, or to a place where you absolutely, I have to go here, I don't know why, and you get there and you feel like you've been there before. This is a fascinating time to recognize, and many of you, if you're here, already know this or are really opening to understand and know this, that you have traveled there, that you have this divine cosmic DNA that is being activated, that is being awakened little by slow, opening to new levels of remembering who you are, remembering through ceremony. I remember the first time that I was went to a powwow, and it was absolutely beautiful. And the song and the sounds were so familiar. And I just was fascinated. And I'm standing in the circle. My whole body started to vibrate. And I was instantly flipped into another lifetime. And the deep sadness that those people were forbidden to do their sacred dance. That there was a time when that dance was so important, to dance on the earth, to dance the beautiful songs, and to revere the beauty of the Earth Mother, the Pachamama, Mother Gaia. Many names for this, Terra Madre, many names for this beautiful planet that we live on. That's what ceremony is about, and they're, the indigenous people were forbidden because they knew this, they held the secrets and they knew the energy, but they retreated until the right timing in order to bring it forward again. And in the 80s, that started happening, where more and more people were awakening and going into South America. A bridge was created between the two, North and South America, and more people were traveling and going to ancient sacred sites. And some of that was the opening to remember, so that you could actually be in your divine presence, who you really are, your soul, and walk with that energy and listen to the guidance that was coming through you, and connect and bring that energy through, so that in this amazing moment, we could collectively lift the vibration and ascend the earth, help and assist the ascension of the earth, the ascension of a new earth, the rebirthing and opening out beyond what we've ever known, what we've ever known. It's all of the different little nuggets and jewels that I've received over so much time from indigenous people, and being in ceremony where um, the magical happens, the mysterious, mystical happens. And those experiences, and I say experiences because it's not written in a book. There's many stories and much teaching in books, but when you go into the experience of it, you experience something that is magical, that is mystical, that allows you to go beyond the brain, go beyond the mind that tries to control, because something is happening that you really, your mind cannot comprehend, but your soul knows. Your soul knows it. And that's the energy that we're moving into more and more now, is to follow your muse, follow your dream, listen carefully, Be in reverence and ceremony every day. Go into that place of connecting with your divine, who you really are, the mastery that's within you, and how you do that is really important as well. So, as I said, you can do that alone, you can connect with a group. Now we have internet, which is fascinating. Many people are many people are connecting through Zoom, and I've witnessed an elder with a condor feather bringing the smoke up of the Palo Santo and blowing that blessing, and it's come right through the screen, and I've smelled it and I felt it, because we're in a different time now. We're in quantum time, and so entering into the portal, the medicine wheel, this multidimensional space, and tapping into what is coming up. So on this full moon, this illumination of the equinox, what a powerful time. And can you be there? Can you celebrate through that whole entire weekend the opening of this moment? Because you have within you all that you need. I can tell you everything. You can come to my classes, and I definitely teach what I've learned, and hold that portal open, hold that gateway open. And that's necessary sometimes. But always, I point you back to you. What is it that you know? And how are you tuning into your own knowing? And is it joy filled, or is it fear filled? When it's fear filled, it's coming from the ego, and that needs cleansing so that you can tap into the divine love that you are. That's what ceremony is about. So people ask me, these sacred portals, and you talk about multidimensionality, and here we are, here I am. I have many clients like this who they're married couples who are holding down jobs and have 3 children and have many projects going on, and how to actually take care of yourself in that moment. How do you take care of yourself when you're so busy? You are the portal. You are the divine conduit between heaven and earth. And so that's what the medicine wheel is about, the Chicana. That's what the teaching of cosmic wisdom, sacred earth. And we're going to get into deeper study with that. I'm doing that workshop in Laguna on the 19th. We're doing a ceremony to set up the space for the March equinox on Friday, March the 18th. And then we're going into a teaching that whole day, the next day, to work around the medicine wheel, the Chicana, work around the sacred earth, and how we do that and hold that alignment and step into the center, the core, and then how we move up through our cosmic DNA, how we open and stabilize those portals. Because the crystal grids help us with that, but also our intention and transmissions, and more and more you're able to hold that frequency where we become superhuman. I'm sure you've seen that across the internet now. Um, there are many, many stories. There are many stories from the ancient people around superhuman capabilities. We're just remembering that now, that it was only a very few, and they spent many years in ashrams and temples studying. And sometimes it requires that. It very much requires a deep, committed study, to clear and cleanse trauma and wounding, and then to be able to hold that frequency. And so oftentimes teachers and healers will go into retreat in order to come out and be able to assist humanity. Now we're we're in such a fast moving time that many people don't have the luxury of that, but actually you do, because here it is. So when you connect to Those of us who have been working with this and holding portals, when you connect with the elders and step into a ceremony, you actually activate much more than you know. Our brains are designed to receive light. So consider this, the brain. This at the center of the brain is the pineal. And the pineal gland, they say, has been calcified for eons of time. We've been shut down in our ability to connect to the divine fully. But as you move into more and more ceremony and meditation and you use sound, you begin to open and activate and literally decrust the pineal. The pineal has retinal receptors. And so it's designed to receive light. So it's not as airy-fairy as people think. We metabolize light. We are, light beings, and we're becoming more and more aware that we're energy beings. So coming into alignment, coming into that full alignment with the divine within you, the soul within you, and noticing where you get pulled back and forth. So stepping into a ceremony, whether it's on a high holiday, as they might say, or in your day-to-day, stepping in, it means being in reverence and surrendering into that which is the divine, the most incredible experience of surrendering into the divine. In the Avesa quantum healing, we say Ave Sa, the Avesa breath. So Ave is the calling in the divine. You breathe in, opening, Sa, the surrender to the divine. We surrender into that. So that is the first step in coming into reverence, remembering and actually stopping for a moment in reverence that this is an incredible, incredible earth. This is the most abundant, beautiful, beautiful being. Everything is alive. Everything is sentient. Everything has consciousness. That we are here as part of this beautiful Garden of Eden, and that we are stewards of this planet. And that's what the ceremonies are about as well, is remembering. If you've been to a fire ceremony with me, you know that I always talk about the plant nation and how we use the plants to remember and to give gratitude for our very breath, that we have breath because of every living thing on this planet that is growing. We have breath. We have water within us. And that is so very, very precious. And not that long ago, they discovered water comes from outer space. Who knew? NASA talked about water coming in, that this is a very special planet for us to experience the elements, to experience the sentience, the consciousness, and that fire, that we're part of fire, that we have fire, we metabolize light, our digestion, and the earth, that we are part of this. And how we ascend this and how we honor and reverence in ceremony is powerful. So back to the brain. When you're in ceremony and you activate and open up the crown, and so we call that the exploded crown, when you begin to open and you're not just connecting through the third eye, but you've opened up the exploded crown into the higher ascension, self-ascension teachings. You open into the divine galactic blueprint, which helps you to align through those cosmic energies. When you are able to hold this, the heart is the stability, the foundation. And you've maybe heard me say this, or if you're new here, the heart is now the root chakra of our lifting into the cosmic. And many teachers have taught about this. As I said, that the shaman that was talking about the heart is the portal. In India, the heart, the Hridaya, they call it, it has 108 connections, portals, nadis that flow in and out. The ancient ones knew about all of this. I could talk on, and I'm grateful that you're here today, because there's so much awakening and coming forward yet again for us to remember. And anytime you're listening and you're tapping into spiritual knowledge, remember that you know this. It's just that you're being sparked to remember that and to step into your own knowing. And when you go in ceremony, your pineal is activated, the brain is activated. When we use sound, you are a harmonic just in your being. And when you use sound, it activates something. And when we use sound in a group, it literally opens and balances and then brings the harmonic of the group even higher. And so the ancient songs and chants from around the world, in ceremony together, when we do that, we open portals and we stabilize and hold those portals. Now, I just want to add this last little piece, because when you go into ceremony, you literally have a shift in consciousness, and that can happen through a sacred site. But these portals that are opening now, NASA has investigated this and has seen that there are many portals opening around the world daily, all the time. And some of them are energetic from the sun. There are others that are specific. The ancient ones knew about these portals, and that when we hold this frequency and this column of light, the rainbow bridge, or the Kuichi, the rainbow bridge, when we hold that frequency open, we allow this energy to flood in. Um, when I was traveling in England, in southern England, many years ago with the Earthkeeper, um, such amazing group of people and guardians, Tibanan, learned a lot about the crystalline. But what an extraordinary experience, because we went to explore the crop circles. And what I saw in my inner vision, and what I did many crop circle drawings and art, because I started to experience the sound, the frequency, the color of those crop circles. But what was extraordinary was that when we stepped into one of those circles, we had no idea what we were experiencing. So for an hour before, as we're traveling to one of the sacred circles, I kept seeing an image in my mind, and I kept seeing this frequency, and I saw it clear. It was like a starburst, but it had very specific sacred geometry. And as I was watching this, um, as we got closer, I could actually feel the crop circles. I could feel the shift in vibration. I could feel the energy there. And in southern England, that's a very specific frequency. The earth, the water, the chalk, everything about it is holds a very special environment for them to be able to bring those crop circles in. So as we get closer, when we got off the bus and we were at a crop circle, they showed us the picture of it, because as you may know, when you're standing in front of it, you can't see the whole thing. You can see it off in the distance. So they showed us a picture, and there was another photograph there of another one, and I said, "What is that?" Because that was the one I had been seeing all all day. And they said that particular one, is over the hill, but we have harvested now. This is the last harvest. They were moving into harvest season. And so this was the last crop circle they were allowing entrance before they harvested. But that image that I saw was imprinted in my brain and in my consciousness. And what I discovered is that that created a holographic field. And that's why we do ceremony. That's why we do lay out crystal grids, because when we imprint the earth with that energy, the energy continues to stay there, and hold. And when we imprint balance, when we imprint our ceremonies, like when we're bringing all of this together, and holding a ceremony, we imprint the space around us, and we imprint the area and ourselves with that sacred frequency. And so that was powerful for me, because then I began to understand how and why this happens, why we lay out the grids and we energize those, and we continue to energize those. And then when we step into ceremony, we connect with others. So this equinox, no matter where you are, with your intention, step in, join a group if you can. If you can't, join us at Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador, the onevoice.org. Look that up. Join us in Laguna for a physical experience if you're nearby. But when you step in and you anchor that frequency, and then you connect up into the higher frequencies, we hold and stabilize that around the world. We're holding that vision. And that's what it's all about, is holding the vision. So I'm so excited to be here with you. So excited that we're doing this, and that more is moving out into more and more deeper connection and alignment. Just know that when you are stepping into a ceremony, that you can create it yourself, whether you light a candle and you do a deep prayer and you say a prayer for the earth, the Pachamama, in whatever way that you do that, or you open and you go up a mountain and you do that from there. The high mountain ranges, the temples, the places that you feel are holy, listen to your own heart knowing, listen to where you're drawn. Because when you go out on a beautiful landscape, go and tune into where you're drawn to be, because the earth has frequencies and energies that in certain areas, and many eons ago, they built temples over those sacred spots because of the frequency, that there was something special there that allowed you to enter into a different consciousness. So for now, that's enough out of me. I really appreciate, there's always more to explore, always more to go in depth with. But just in the moment, gaze into this. There's a harmonic, there's a frequency. I'll be posting more of this later on my Instagram, Mari Mendoza Healing Arts. If you want to join us, go to marimendoza.com and look into that. There's lots on my website to explore as well. Meditations. I did a whole entire year, and there's a library of new moon meditations that help you with your frequency, with your consciousness, cleansing yourself, stabilizing yourself as a star being, so many sacred love, divine balance. Remember, in this moment, this is always about balance. And when you are in your heart holding balance, then everything stems from there. Where will you go? Where will you travel? Because when you're stabilized in the sacred heart energy, you can travel and return and bring the gifts that of illumination and inspiration that you get from your journeys and travel into the cosmos. Fascinating time. Join up, hold this energy, link in with those people that are doing this, and stay positive. Stay in your creation energy. This is all about creation right now. And what you focus on expands. So expand the love, expand the beauty. I so appreciate everyone here, and I will see you next time. It's finished in beauty. Namaste.